Elite Facts presents
7 things we wouldn't have without ancient Greece.
7.
Plumbing. Yeah, we think you'd better get on your hands and knees and thank the ancient Greeks for this invention, because if this wasn't invented, our streets would smell absolutely rancid. The thing people tend to overlook when it comes to ancient Greece is the fact that they held themselves to a very high standard. This included promoting both physical and mental fitness. This was a concept reflected in their approach to exercise and cleanliness. Athens required many aqueducts to bring water from the mountains. So what, were they going to send people up there every time they ran out of water to use? Hell no! Instead, they decided to create a highly extensive plumbing system for baths and fountains, as well as for personal use within homes. Back then, it was revolutionary. The water supplies were directed to storage cisterns, which in turn fed a multitude of street fountains, some of which are still in use today. Who would have thought something like this would last all this time? Still though, it's pretty mind-bending to think that such a thing as plumbing was invented way back in ancient Greece.
6.
Construction cranes. Yeah, now, as if the whole plumbing thing wasn't impressive enough, how about construction cranes? While this one isn't as surprising, it's still rather impressive that the core concept was created back then. During the 6th century BC, the Greeks invented a way to lift heavy stone blocks onto emerging temple walls, and we know it today as a crane. Holes drilled into the stone suggest ropes were attached to the blocks so it could be pulled up. Fairly basic stuff, but hey, it did the job. Without this, we'd still be pushing and pulling bricks, stones, and other various building materials up atop large construction sites.
5.
Central heating. Now, before we go any further, no, we don't mean like how they used to heat up saunas and baths, but believe it or not, the ancient Greeks did invent central heating. Before the Romans came up with the hypocaust system, the Greeks, specifically the Minoans, had a system of their own, which was fairly similar. The idea behind this was that they would place pipes under floors in their homes, throughout which they passed warm water in order to keep the rooms and floors heated during the winter season. Again, doesn't seem like much now, but you've got to look at it from their perspective, as this was revolutionary. For this reason, they usually built their homes so that the tile floors were supported by cylindrical pillars, creating a space between the floor where hot vapors from a central fire could circulate and spread through flues in the walls. So yeah, again, get on your hands and knees and thank them for this. Next time you think about whining and moaning about how cold it is, just think how things could have been if central heating wasn't founded.
4.
The Olympics. Now, this is common knowledge, but we still figured it's worth mentioning for the simple reason that it is a cultural phenomenon. The modern Olympics are one of the greatest spectacles in sports of the modern age, but when Pierre de Coubertin founded the International Olympic Committee back in 1896, the year when the first modern Olympics was held, he was extensively inspired by the ancient Olympics that used to be held in ancient Greece more than 2,700 years ago. The first ancient Olympic Games can be traced back to 776 BC. The Olympics were held as a tribute to the Olympian gods and were staged on the ancient plains of Olympia. The Isthmos game was staged every 2 years at the Isthmus of Corinth. The Pythian Games took place every 4 years near Delphi. The most famous games were the ones held at Olympia, southwest of Greece, which took place every 4 years. Folks from all across Greece would travel there to witness the spectacle. The victors were given olive leaf wreaths and crowns as a prize. What do you get these days? A medal, and that's not even worth $10 on eBay. Just kidding. It's a very prestigious prize. Then again, we would rather they handed out medals that were foil-wrapped chocolate for comedic effect.
3.
Architecture. If there's one thing you've got to give ancient Greece credit for, it's for some of the spectacular-looking buildings, statues, and structures they had going for them. They're all so stunning and unique in their own way, and most of them have managed to stand the test of time. Greek architects created the 3 major architectural orders of antiquity, Doric, Ionic, and Corinthian, that continue to influence the world to this day. Not only did Greek architecture provide many of the staple features of modern Western architecture, but has even given the world unique and beautiful buildings to marvel at. Again, most of these buildings, although they aren't without damage, have managed to somehow stand the test of time and continue to inspire admiration, the Parthenon being a prime example.
2,
The alarm clock. Okay, don't thank the ancient Greeks for this one. In fact, we blame them for creating such an annoying yet helpful item. In all seriousness though, the alarm clock is one of the most commonly used gadgets of our generation, which as it turns out isn't even from our generation, as the alarm clock's origin goes way back to its conception in ancient Greece. Yes, in due course of time and with the proper sophistication of technology, the alarm clock went through a number of changes from a mechanical alarm to the modern gadgets like cell phone, which come with inbuilt alarm. However, the original core concept of the alarms used by ancient Greeks were nothing like today. They used an integrated mechanism to time the alarm, which would sound off delicate water organs or pebbles into drums. These were so popular back then that even the ancient Greek philosopher Plato, 428 to 348 BC, was said to possess a large water clock with an unspecified alarm signal similar to the sound of a water organ. He used it at night, possibly for signaling the beginning of his lectures at dawn. So yeah, as impressive as it is for an era such as ancient Greece to have invented the alarm clock, we're going to start blaming them every time the damn thing won't shut off in the morning.
1,
Democracy. Don't worry, we're not going to even think about going over anything political that's happened in recent memory. We want no part of that. But did you know that the concept of democracy was created by the ancient Greeks? Back in those times, citizens didn't have a say as to who was in power and didn't have a say when it came to big economical decisions. This is something, however, that the modern world has gotten used to. Well, most of the modern world at least. But as it turns out, democracy has been around much longer than we initially thought, as the concept of democracy has been around since ancient Greece. In fact, the concept as well as implementation of democracy can be traced back from the present day to ancient classical Athens. Although there are evidences that democratic forms of government in a broad sense may have existed in several areas of the world well before the turn of the 5th century, it is generally believed that the concepts of democracy and constitution were created in one particular place and time, in ancient Athens around 508 BC. It is because of this that Athens is regarded as the birthplace of democracy and is also considered as an important reference point of democracy. And that's our list. Did we leave any out that you can think of? Let us know in the comments section below. Don't forget to subscribe for more content and tap the bell icon to never miss an upload. Thanks for watching.
Don't forget to like us and subscribe for more Elite Facts.